Hi, welcome to the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, your host, and I started my Christian coaching business in December of 2018, just hoping to make it. I remember tossing and turning at night, wondering whether or not I was good enough, wondering whether or not I could actually do this. I had plenty of self-doubt, and I needed to surrender it to God. I was also struggling externally with some of the challenges of the marketplace, where it felt like running a business was so overwhelming and complicated and expensive. I knew I needed a simpler strategy that could work for me, and that's what I developed, and God provided. I collected over $250,000 in revenue my first year, and this podcast is designed to help you design and launch and grow a successful, high-integrity Christian coaching business with the right signature offers and pricing, with the right high-integrity sales and marketing strategies, and with a mindset that can actually win in the marketplace. Thank you for joining us for today's episode. Today, I want to talk about a question that comes up a lot with new coaching clients I start working with, which is, should I coach some clients for free, especially if I'm a new coach? And as a Christian, if this is a ministry, should I coach people for free in general? Should I coach people for free to get testimonials and experience and things like that starting out? This is a reasonable question, and the answer is no. You should not coach clients for free. Interestingly, though, the answer is also yes. You should provide some free coaching. And let me explain myself. The reason why you shouldn't coach clients for free is because those initial clients that you would coach for free, those are probably going to be people who already know you, like you, trust you, and really need your service. In fact, they're your most ideal clients. And that means that those should be clients that you invite to your actual signature offer, so that working with those clients helps you have more success in building a successful business, providing income for your family, keeping your business in business and staying alive so that you can make it to the next clients that you're going to serve. So it's the greatest win for you to be charging those clients. Now, here's the other reality. It's best for those clients to be paying for your service. It's important that you charge them so that they can get more out of it. A paying client is always going to show up with a greater degree of resolve, with a greater intentionality. They're going to care more about every call they have with you because they paid for it. And there's this natural thing in human nature that they're going to want to get their money's worth. And so clients who pay show up more consistently, they implement more consistently, they're more present and focused on the calls, and they get greater impact and greater results because of working with you. So the best win-win for you and the client is for you to absolutely be charging those first clients and all of your clients. It's also important for both of you and for the success of the business and the development of your skill set that you get testimonials from real clients. And they're not a real client if they're not paying you. And so if they're a paying client, they're going to show up in the way that you want future clients to show up. They're going to have the experience that you want future clients to have. They're going to implement at a level that's going to create greater results, which means your testimonials, your referrals, and all the other things that come along with serving a client at a high level are going to be better when they are a paying client. So no, you should not give away your coaching for free. You should be charging for it. Now, I will give you the caveat that if you're a brand new coach, I think it's reasonable to consider having a beta price, a discounted price for your first handful of clients. I did not do this when my business was new. I knew I needed to get a certain number of clients at a certain price point to stay in business, or I was going to go out of business in 3 to 6 months. I was going to go ask somebody for a job. I needed the income for my family. So I made a price and I charged that price to client number one and each of them afterwards. However, when I did launch our Christian Coaches Academy, our $75 a month membership, a couple of years ago, I first started with a beta price. And I said all the founding members of CCA, Christian Coaches Academy, would be in at $50 a month, and they'd be locked into that subscription forever if they joined before the launch date. So I had about a month or so that I was aiming to sell that program before launching it on like January 10th, a couple of years ago. And so for those couple of months, that month or two that I was selling, I told everybody it's a $75 a month program, but for founding members who joined before January 10th, it's going to be $50 a month, and they're locked into that rate. Many of those clients are still with us. Some of you are listening to this are those founding members, and you've got that $50 a month rate, and all of our newer clients are paying $75 a month. That kind of beta pricing I like. I had 80 people on day one in our Christian Coaches Academy because the program's worth 10 times what it costs. It's such a valuable, amazing community with a lot of Christian coaches, a directory live prayer and networking call, 25 trainings. All of our best content is in there. And it's only $75 a month. And at $50 a month, of course, it was even more of a steal. By the way, if you're interested in finding out more about our Christian Coaches Academy, I'd love for you to join us there. If you are a Christian coach enjoying this podcast, come and take the next step with us so that we can get to know each other in person via Zoom in our prayer and networking calls. We can introduce you to our community. We can provide more training for you. And you can find out about that at f2itribe.com/CCA. F2I Tribe, that's the number 2, f2itribe.com/CCA. It's a really cool community. So that founder's pricing, that felt good when I was launching that program. And so you can do that. You could have a $5,000 offer and say, hey, but for my first 3 clients who are going to be my founding members of this offer, I'm going to offer it for $3,000 instead of $5,000. You get $2,000 off. I think that's totally reasonable. Or a $10,000 offer that you decide to sell for anywhere between $5 and $85. Or if you had something that was a membership that was low ticket and it was going to be $100, if you want to offer it for $50 to your first clients, I think that's totally reasonable. So somewhere between like 20 and 50% off as a beta price for founding first clients, totally reasonable. Free, not a good idea for you or for them. We can do better than that. Now, here's the other side of this. Here's why I said at the beginning, no, don't coach people for free. And then, yes, do coach people for free. Here's the interesting distinction. I do not believe that you should offer any of your signature offers or your programs for free to your clients. Not good for you or for them. However, you can coach any person in the world for one call for free. We call that a sales call, or I might call it a discovery call or a strategy session. That's an opportunity for you to invite somebody to a call who's not yet working with you and have a coaching-based sales conversation. Listen, if you know me, you know that I believe sales, when done right, is simply coaching with an invitation at the end of it. So absolutely, somebody's like, hey, I want a free call, or hey, can you help me with this? Or man, you're charging for that. You can say, well, hey, I'll give you one free call. I'd love to help you. And just show up and coach them and provide tremendous value and pour into them and help them experience what it's like to work with you. And at the end of that call, you can say, hey, this has been really fun. This is actually what I do with my clients all the time. Are you open to hearing how I work with my clients? Or maybe, would you like more help with things like this? Awesome. Can I share how I work with my clients? And you can pivot from that free coaching call to an offer and an invitation to what's next. So that one free, anybody in the world can get one free coaching call with me. It's pretty easy. Just book it. That's the way that you should work with people for free. But then if they want more than that single call, then they need to accept your offer, your invitation to work together. Now, the other reason I wanted to say that, yeah, you can coach people for free is it's not really coaching, but you can provide free training. So you might decide at some point to launch your own podcast or your own YouTube channel. And listen, this podcast is completely free. If you've been listening to this podcast and loving it for a long time, I know I hear it from people all the time. They're like, I've been binging your podcast, or I've been listening for 6 months or a year. I love it. I've listened to every episode. And, it's a ton of free value. I love that. If you've been listening for free, you know, it would mean a lot to me. You know how you could pay for the podcast value is a review on Apple Podcasts, a 5-star rating if you love it, or an honest rating. Whatever you feel about the podcast, whatever you think it is, go ahead and rate it and give us a review. That would mean so much to me. That would be all the payment I would need from you. But the truth is, on this podcast, here's the interesting thing. I'm going to, at some point over the next 10 years, probably teach everything I'm ever going to teach on this podcast. The thing that I learned from Russell Brunson years ago I thought was really valuable is that at every level of your business, you teach the exact same thing. It's the delivery model that changes, and that's what affects the price point of it. Now, listen, you don't need to have a podcast. You don't need to have a YouTube channel. That's not for everyone. Some of you are just going to build your business through relational selling, referrals, and networking, and talking to people you know, maybe speaking occasionally. You don't need to create some big platform on social media or through a podcast or YouTube. But if you do want to, like, here's the truth. The Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast is free and is going to teach every single thing I'm ever going to teach at some point, but it's in little bite-sized chunks, and it's not in a perfect order. It's like a sitcom where every single episode is valuable on its own and it's good and there's something to implement and enjoy. It's not a drama where you have to watch them all in order. But the truth is, because it's a sitcom, it's not exactly in order. It's not telling a perfect, full, complete story in exacting order that allows people to implement at the highest level. It's bite-sized chunks and ideas that people can move forward with. And I know that if you're listening, you know how valuable these episodes can be. And it's free. What am I going to do if and when I write a book about sales and building businesses for Christian coaches and entrepreneurs? I'm going to teach the exact same stuff I teach on the podcast, but in a more complete, thoughtful order, in written form. It's a new delivery mechanism, and we'll charge $15 or $20 for the book. And people who love the podcast will buy the book. And then, of course, we have our Christian Coaches Academy, where we've got a library of 25 or 30 amazing trainings that are very complete, optimized in order, full trainings, all the details, everything you need to build a successful coaching business. And it's the same content. We're solving the same problems. It's the same kind of thing as what we do in the podcast or what we'd write about in the book. But it is $75 a month. And people are happy to pay for that because it's easier to consume the content in the video form, and it's easier to consume it in its complete form and then implement at a high level. And then what do we have beyond CCA? Well, we've got our sales school for coaches training program where people pay a few $100s a month to receive every single week live training and Q&A and interaction with me in a group setting. It's the same content, the same ideas, the same outcomes, but it's a different delivery mechanism. I'm not worried about people who listen to the podcast not wanting to buy sales school, or people who are in CCA not wanting sales school. My experience is exactly the opposite. People who receive and value our content in one delivery mechanism oftentimes desire the next level of what that could be like, because they know that there's a deeper level of relationship, there's nuance, there's Q&A in that training, and it helps people go to another level. And then what do we do in our private coaching programs or our Faithful Business Accelerator? The things that people pay a lot of money for when they come to my house and spend a full day working on their business, and they pay infinitely more than these lower ticket programs. Well, I teach the same things. We work on the same problems. We go through the same outcomes that we talk about in all these other delivery mechanisms, but now it's one-on-one. Now it's in person. Now it's an 8-hour day where we're like going back and forth and finding something that's specific to that ideal client instead of a general training for everyone. And it makes all the difference for so many clients. And listen, that's not going to be for everyone. But many people who engage in the other delivery mechanisms of our content, our outcomes, and our problem solving and our programs end up desiring and wanting that private coaching VIP day. And I hope this encourages you, because this is what I want you to receive. I want you to understand that you don't have to create something totally different at every level of your program. And you might at some point decide, if you've got a teaching-based program, some of you are pure coaches, you just ask questions, and I love that. But if you've got a teaching, curriculum, content-based program at all, you might decide at some point to have that YouTube channel, that podcast, that platform where you provide training on your topics for free. So if you talk to somebody and they can't afford your coaching, I love being able to say, no worries, why don't you check out the podcast? This is a great place for you to learn and grow, and the door is always open for you to come and join our community later on. Or if somebody's not ready for private coaching or a high ticket price point, to say, oh, you know what? We've got a training library where you can engage in this on your own. Or why don't you come to our weekly group trainings called Sales School, where you can engage in the content at a lower price point and get what you need. So I like having these different levels. For a new coach, having 1 or 2 offers is usually best. Keep it simple. You don't need to model all this right away. It was 4 years into my business before I launched a membership that was successful. And we started with just a couple of high ticket offers. But over time, I want you to know that you can provide content and value for free to the marketplace, and that's only going to attract more people to you. But if you are going to actually work with a client live in a group coaching program or one-on-one, they need to pay. It's best for you and it's best for them. I hope that this has answered some questions and supported you. God bless you all. Have an amazing week. And I look forward to talking with you soon. Cheers.